Hello, listeners and hello, viewers. Welcome. I'm Doc G, and this is the Wellness Revolution with Dr. Robert Wiedemann and Marvin Robb. Welcome. This may be for information purposes, but it also may not be. Tune in and check them out. GetDocsMinerals.com. Hey, Doc, and hey, Marvin.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
And what we're going to continue on with our discussion tonight on the immune system, and we're going to talk a little bit about how the immune system works. We're going to talk about phagocytosis. We did that the other night, and I thought maybe we could start with that this evening, Marvin.
So you want to go ahead? Okay, let me pull up that screen. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this, and we do that. And we come over here and do this. Can you see that? Do you see my screen?
Yes. Now,
okay, go ahead, and you tell me when to advance it, and I'll advance it. You go ahead.
That's not the right one to start with. The one that start with is the there's a tag on the outside of the cell. Okay.
Yeah,
there we go. No. One before that. No.
Well, they're not numbered, so I don't know which one.
Yeah, there we go. There. Let's see. That there should be one more previous to that. Try the one clear up at the top there. Clear up at the top. See what that one does. No, that's not the right one either. Well, anyway,
let's do this. Let's figure out which goes first. Tell me which goes first.
There's one missing apparently. Okay, this one right here. This is where, the top part of that is supposed to be a pathogen floating around there, and it hooks up with the thing that's on the cell, and then the cell brings it into there. So no, the one that's up now, put that at the top as the first one. Okay, and then there's one where it engulfs. Keep going down here. One more. There should be one more below that.
That's all we got. Well, hold on.
Oh, there we go. That's the second one
you're looking for.
Yeah. So that's the first one.
Hold on. Let me get this organized. So that is the first one.
Yeah.
And this is going to be the second one.
That's right. And then it actually engulfs the pathogen.
Okay.
See, the darker part of that is the tag that's on the cell that's looking for the pathogen. It's like it matches it, and it attaches to it. Then it engulfs it, and then surrounds it, and then there's lysosome. The lysosome in there will digest it. Well, it becomes a phagulosome, and it basically digests it and breaks it all up. Yeah, the next one down here. No, next one. Yeah, there. And let's see, go farther down. No. There we go. And then there's the indigestible material removed through exocytosis. Basically it ejects it from the cell after it's broken it all up. It's killed it, and it kills the pathogen and kicks it out into the probably into the lymph system. Because the lymph system is basically like a big sewer system throughout your body. A trash removal system that is literally everywhere in your body. All of your lymph nodes are basically sewage disposal centers. They process the sewage in your body. And then it gets rid of it through the kidneys and the liver and so forth.
One thing, Dr. Wiedemann, that looking at this, And just based on what Dr. Wallace has been teaching all these years, he teaches that unless you have the correct amount of minerals, these plant-derived minerals, this process is not going to, you might be able to get rid of the waste out of the cell, but it's just sitting there in the lymphatic system. And
Yeah.
then your lymph nodes become full of toxins and heavy metals. And next thing you know, you've got all kinds of problems. And that's where the minerals come into play. They go in and they're 2,000 to 7,000 times smaller than the red blood cell. They will go in there and they will assist in this process and help remove and carry these toxins and bad guys and all the waste into the bloodstream for elimination. So is that kind of what we're talking about here?
Yeah, see these lysosomes in there require the minerals in order to combine, to break these things down, combine with them and make them become inert and then carry them out of your body. Because you lose minerals all the time because of this process. That's why you have to have a constant supply of minerals, not only to build up your body, but to tear parts down that shouldn't be there. Your immune system is active 24 hours a day or you die. It has to be there because we're constantly being invaded. And so the body is so perfectly balanced when it has the proper nutrients. And it requires nerve supply also. With the reticuloendothelial system and the bones, they all have neurological connections that are connected to the brain, and the brain monitors everything that's going on in the body. So removal of nerve interference is always there. The need for it is always there. So, okay.
So couple of minutes. Here's another one here. Is that?
That's probably one of the earlier ones. It just shows it's part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
You probably move that up there.
So what we need to do is next time we do this, we need to go ahead and number them in alphabetical order the way you want it, because I just brought them in and not realizing that they were not in order the way you wanted them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is what happens when you do things live. You kind of, pull things out of your hat once in a while, but that's okay. We're going to have fun, right? Those little bad guys, all we need to know is there's bad guys. Bad guys don't like minerals. And when we give them minerals, when you give our body minerals it needs, with the basic 90, which is the minerals that we need. And guess what? It's kind of like supercharging those good guys, and the bad guys will run away.
Yeah. And it's interesting that the red blood cells have some degree of capability of doing this as well.
And you mentioned the immune system, Dr. Wiedemann, but a lot of people don't realize this, is that the pancreas, according to Dr. Wallach's teaching, the pancreas produces the B cells. The B cells will not be activated until they pass through the appendix. And that's 1/3 of our immune system. And many of you, including myself, have had appendicitis attacks or the appendix removed. And if that's the case,
I remember my sister having an appendicitis attack and having to have her appendix removed, and they told her that they found a worm in it. And basically what that means is she had parasites.
And so anytime you have appendicitis attack or appendix removed, it's a guarantee that you've lost 1/3 of your immune system. Now, let's back up a little bit. Now, we're talking about the immune system, and we're talking about part of the digestive system. And so here we are going from the white blood cells, which produce the T cells, and they're the good guys. But we also have another group of good guys. Now, think of the B cells as, well, I'm a veteran, so I like to talk about calling in naval gunfire support, right? Those 16-inch guns on offshore, if you call in naval gunfire support, those are the B cells, right? They're really back up to what the T cells are doing. Well, if I don't have a naval armada off coast, I'm not going to be able to get that extra support I need. Will I, Dr. Wiedemann?
Yeah, I was thinking that the T cells are the 16-inch guns and the B cells are like the 5-inch guns.
Okay, well, I'm okay with that, but just as long as we can visualize how important these B cells and T cells are, because they work together. But if we don't have those B cells, That's 1/3 of our immune system, which means that we just have to have extra work, extra hard. Now, the question is, what happens when we have a appendicitis attack? What causes appendicitis attack, Dr. Wiedemann?
Well, I believe that both with gallbladder attacks and appendicitis attacks, the number one smoking gun is gluten intolerance. Because what happens is see, basically you can pretty much think that just about every disease in the body starts with inflammation. And the problem with inflammation, you got 4 things that happen with inflammation. The first thing is you have an infusion into the tissues of lymphatic, interstitial fluid, flows into that area because what happens is the capillaries expand, so you get redness and you get heat, and when the blood slows down, then the plasma will seep into the tissues, into the interstitial fluid, causing swelling. Now the swelling causes pain, and pain will signal the brain, and the brain sends white blood cells into the area. Okay, and white blood cells, what they do is they do phagocytosis. They will attack foreign bodies. They will take dead and dying tissue and recycle it, basically. So those, the phagocytosis happens with dead and dying tissue as well.
So if you don't have, and this is one thing I did not make that connection until I met Dr. Wallach. I remember as being a little boy, I always had severe abdominal pain, and then this appendicitis attack. Now, I didn't know it was appendicitis attack, but I did know that if the abdominal pain was too severe, they would take me to the hospital and they they just told me to cut out my guts. I didn't know what that meant. But I was so definitely afraid of having my guts cut out, that I just didn't stop complaining about my abdominal pain. But you know what? I suffered a lot of abdominal pain as a young child. And it typically starts lower abdominal area, and it's just extremely painful. And that is because if you cannot digest a protein gluten,
Mm-hmm.
which I did not know I couldn't do that back when I was a young kid, that protein gluten acts just kind of like sandpaper. It irritates the appendix and causes inflammation. That inflammation is extremely painful.
I had similar thing, Marvin. I remember being at a dinner party at my grandparents' house, and I remember eating the food and ending up with a gut ache, in my lower abdomen on the left hand side. Everybody's saying, well, it's appendicitis, but it was on the wrong side. Appendicitis is always on the right, and it's at McBurney's point, right between the navel and the anterior superior spine of the ilium, and the McBurney's point. And McBurney's point is right between those 2 points, and it wasn't there. And I was doubled up. See, with appendicitis, you straighten out. You don't double up. Well, I was doubled up, and it was hurting on the left, and so I never did figure out what was hurting me, and it quit after that night. Well, what was happening? We probably had a lot of gluten that evening, because everything. My grandmother was a wonderful cook, but she cooked with a lot of gluten, and my grandfather actually passed away from colon cancer, and he had problems with dysentery. He probably had gluten intolerance and failed digestive system.
So, being a young man, I always had my hands just cracked and bleeding. My elbows were just real dry, and it was just, I had dry skin, and I had a lot of health issues in my teenage years, and I was very active, but I did not understand what caused the problem. Well, not until years and years later. So my mental capacity is actually what I would consider considerably more astute that it was back in my 20s. I can remember phone numbers and credit card numbers where back in my 20s I could not do that. I could not even do that in my teenage years. Matter of fact, going through school, I struggled because I had a really difficult time retaining information. And that's because a lack of good fats to my brain. And so if somebody has a gluten intolerance, you're always going to see that foggy memory and lack of good fats to the brain. And the first sign and symptom is always going to be a lack of good fats. If you have dry skin, dandruff, you've got constipation problems, all those things lead to the symptoms of gluten intolerance. Now, these are some early warning signs. Remember, we talked about the appendix. If you have your appendix removed, all of a sudden you've lost 1/3 of your immune system. And now the body will compensate itself, just like if you lose a kidney, though you have one kidney left to take over the responsibility of double the workload. But it does work. My brother, he lost one of his kidneys when he was bull riding, and he's still just fine today. But with that said, going back to the immune system, Dr. Wiedemann, the immune system is so important to be able to support and promote healthy function. I mean, if you succumb to viruses, bacteria, and fungus and yeast and things like that, you're going to be a goner very quickly. And that's what happened in COVID. During COVID, we saw people succumb to COVID virus because they're compromised immune system. And so I would love to do a study on all those people who succumbed to COVID and find out just how many of those had gluten intolerance. I bet you'd find a large percentage of those people had a gluten intolerance that severely compromised the immune system.
Well, I used to get the flu once a year, and when I was a kid, and my mother would give me enemas, and I would get well after that. And so that tells me that my digestive system was compromised, probably by gluten, because you'd end up with a lot of constipation from that. Not only that, constipation is also closely related to the amount of magnesium and calcium that you're getting in your diet. Plus the fact, here's another thing, essential fatty acids make a tremendous difference in your bowel movements as well, because essential fatty acids are necessary for the cell wall to be functioning properly. And here's something interesting that I found. Have you ever been in a situation where you just figure, oh, I can feel in my nose I'm getting a cold? It's just like you feel that moment that you get invaded in the tissues of your nose, and you think, oh, I know that I'm going to get a cold. And in the past I've come down with a cold. Well, I have found that if you take one of these essential fatty acid capsules and bite the end off of it and sniff it up your nose, it'll stop that right away. It's amazing.
So let's talk about some. Last week we talked about some products that we can support and promote the immune system. But Dr. Wiedemann, you come up with a really good video that we want people to watch. Or do you want to talk about the product first and watch the results of Fucoiden?
Yeah, well, see, I think. How do you feel about showing one of these videos from the lady from?
You talking about Molly?
Yeah, Molly. Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to Molly, and we can go ahead and do that real quick here.
Yeah, we wanted to show the one on cancer. How they treat cancer. Like with chemotherapy. The idea, the concept behind it is to attack all the cells, both healthy and cancerous, and hopefully that the bad cells will die, and it kills the daughter cells off first.
Let's go ahead and let's watch this. This is a 2-minute video. Let's play this one real quickly here. Molly talks about the mother cells and daughter cells. Yeah. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, let's watch that one real quickly here.
You've done some research about chemo, where it came from. What was the origin of the chemo itself? Where did it come from? And what was it intended to be used initially?
Chemotherapy drugs were used during World War II, certainly.
So they were designed specific as a chemical weapon.
Chemical weapon of war.
Okay.
We kept those factories going after the war ended.
Tell me, does the chemo drug know the difference between a good cell and a bad cell?
No, it's an indiscriminate killer.
And it kills both good and bad?
It kills both good and bad, and it depends on which is stronger as to what will win. Yeah.
Now, something else that you have discovered recently is that there is the mother cells and the daughter cells. Where's this research coming from? And help us understand a little bit more about that.
It is from Dr. Russell Blaylock, who's a retired neurosurgeon, and the public generally doesn't know this kinds of information. But what's kind of interesting about him was my father used to take me to some medical meetings, and I remember him when I was young, and he would be the speaker at some of the neurosurgery meetings. And then later he retired and began to do some interesting cancer research. But you're going to have a cancer cell coming from the mother stem cell, okay? And so that mother stem cell will produce what's called a daughter stem cell. Now, the chemotherapy will actually work on the daughter stem cell and kill that off successfully. And so you'll see tumor margins shrinking, and people will say, oh, the chemo's working. And it is working. It's killing those daughter stem cells of the cancer. And so that part's good. However, when the chemo continues and the daughter stem cells are wiped out, then what's remaining are those mother stem cells. And therein lies the issue. The chemotherapy drugs become food for those mother stem cells. And so the cancer uses it as food, and they begin to grow. And the tumor is going to be growing from that mother stem cell. And this is something that people don't know. So this, of course, is very, very bad.
Well, that's interesting, because a lot of times I've seen people, I'm in remission. 6 months to 12 months later, all of a sudden it comes back and they don't live very long. So is that what you're saying? Is basically when we see somebody that's taking chemo medication, drugs, they go into remission, and within 6 months to 12 months later, a lot of times it comes back and they don't live long. And that's because the mother cells are just coming back full strength. And
they're using that chemo drug for food.
I see.
And they're growing the tumor.
That's profound, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I remember that I had a patient in Montana that was using alternative methods to go after his he had a prostate cancer, and he was getting results with the natural stuff. Went back to his doctor, and his doctor refused to take care of him unless he did radiation and chemotherapy. And I think it was radiation that he was doing chiefly. And he said that, when he went in, it felt like a snowball melting, when they did the radiation on him. And I thought to myself, you'll be dead within 6 weeks. And sure enough, he was. And the family got mad at me for encouraging the natural stuff, and yet it was the medicine that killed him, the medical approach that killed him. I knew it was going to happen. And, let's talk a little bit about stem cells, Marvin. What do you know about stem cells in the body?
Well, first of all, stem cells are, let's say, for example, if I cut my finger, right? The stem cell in my skin is going to make skin, repair the skin. It knows to make skin cells. If I have an injury in my liver stem cells going to make liver cells. And so the stem cells in those organs are programmed to where they will recreate that organ if it's damaged or has to be repaired. And so what's happening is that your liver will constantly repair and rebuild itself, and it's an organ that grows very fast. I've actually personally met a lady that had 32 stents in her liver, and her liver was the size of an Oreo cookie. She met Dr. Wallach, and this is all well documented. And she met Dr. Wallach, and Dr. Wallach said, well, we can grow that liver. It's pretty easy to do. And so they got her on Dr. Wallach's nutritional protocol to support and promote healthy liver. And I don't know what all products she took, but anyway, they actually were able to regrow that liver to full-size liver in less than 6 months. Now, this was actually He was on some local, some national radio show, and debating the doctor about this. And so they had the X-rays and everything. She was. This lady was there on live television. They were talking about this, and the doctor was denying the results that they had, even though they had X-rays and everything, MRIs to show they were able to regrow the liver. They had the medical records, and so this is kind of the unfortunate part about it. It's like I said, this lady is still alive today, to this very day. She's still alive. I met her. This was back in a good 15, maybe 16 years ago when I first met her. And
what this really shows is that the body needs no help, just no interference. Because the body produces its own stem cells, and there's nothing you can do to stimulate them. Nothing from the outside of your body. Health does not come from the outside in. It comes from above down, inside out. It's our brain communicating through the body, through the spinal cord, going through the nerves, through the intervertebral foramina, to the tissues, and then back again to the brain. And the brain regulates the amount, and it's always 100% for what the body needs. And age has something to do with this, but you still produce stem cells even up into 80 and 90-year-old people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now we do have a product that helps produce stem cells within 12 weeks of starting to use it. It's the Z radical. Do you have the Z radical there?
I do. Let me go ahead and bring that up again. And so let's talk about the Z radical here. Okay, let's do this. Hold on here. Here we go. Now, the Z radical is a liquid, but I want to click on the actual supplemental facts here, and right down here, fucoidan, proprietary blend of 50 milligrams of fucoidan. It has all this other stuff in there, and this combination, this bottle here is a phenomenal product to help support and promote apoptosis in rogue cells.
Yeah, fucoidan, if you look up on PubMed, they have done actual research on fucoidan. Now fucoidan comes from very pure waters down off of South America with seaweed. There was a seaweed that they get this fucoidan from, and it will actually cause apoptosis in cancer cells.
Wow.
Now, apoptosis is the ability of a cell to commit suicide when it's malfunctioning. And cancer cells lose that ability, and that's why they multiply. They multiply with errors in the code. And what fucoidan does is cause them to kill themselves. And we actually have a video here of the application of fucoidan and showing what happens with cancer cells when that happens. You want to show that video now?
Yeah, let's go ahead and bring that one up. You can pull this up on YouTube. This is a YouTube video. So let's open this up, and the left-hand side is no fucoidan. The right-hand side is fucoidan. Notice how the left-hand side is just a mass. The tumors continue to grow and grow. The right-hand side, you don't have that multiplication.
Yeah. Now, Brett Bashawati made a comment about this. He felt that if you had stage 4 cancer, if you took 12 bottles of this,
hold on. Let's play that again. Let's just play that again. If you hold on, I'm gonna go back to that video here. Let's play that again, and just so for people it's a quick little video here. Those of you who don't have access to the internet right now and you're listening to us, what you see in the left-hand screen is it's a gray, and you see all these it looks almost like bunch of little slugs or snails kind of multiplying. On the right-hand side, which is a tissue that has a fucoidin in it, and you don't see the multiplication of this, what the rogue tissue or rogue cells. And so let's play this again, and Dr. Wiedemann kind of explain what's happening here as this is playing.
Yeah, up in the upper left-hand corner, you see a group of cells that are dividing and dividing. But on the right-hand side, you see them dispersed and actually killing themselves, or actually destroying themselves. And see, that's what gives. And see, what a perfect solution to, and here you see that on the left-hand side, you can see the whole screen is a mass of malfunction.
This trip was banned from the American public for decades.
Hold on. Let me get. I need to stop. Let me go back to where I was at. I disrupted you. Hold on here.
Yeah, you can see it. It starts out as a group in the upper left-hand corner, and it spreads to basically being the whole screen. It's a rapidly dividing cells, and on the right-hand side, you can actually see the cells destroying themselves. And on the left-hand side, the whole screen is a mass of cells, and the right-hand side, it's actually just that they've destroyed themselves. So the fucoidin has an influence, and there's over 1,000 articles in PubMed about the effects of fucoidin on cancer cells. So we have the evidence from the medical profession itself that this is effective. And Brett Bashawati said that he felt that if someone were to take 12 bottles of this a month, they could actually overcome stage 4 cancer. Now, we don't say that as a treatment or cure of any kind, but it sure seems to be effective.
And we use this as part of, anytime we have a compromised immune system, we always add the Z radical as part of that immune support program. And so just remember, you give the body what it needs, it will heal, repair, rebuild itself.
Yes. And I recommend getting maximal correction of the spine. It's a measurable correction. You see a NUCA doctor, and you're going to get. I've had so many people contact me, for needing a NUCA doctor, and I've been able to hook them up with it, and I've had good reports back in every single case it's gone to one. So anyway, that's wonderful. So with that,
I had a question, Doc, before you go on. Does the fucoidin actually strip the oxygen away from the cells, or how does that work?
I don't know how it works. I would suggest looking it up on PubMed. Here's one of the things that they have done a study on. They have found that cancer cells use up a lot of oxygen, a tremendous amount of oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
And so it actually steals it from other cells. And when you have anoxia, you end up with errors in the cell. And so there's another product that we use, and it's called actually called Oxybody Cherryberry, which is actually a form of, see, in the one of the things that I didn't show in the phagocytosis is the fact that one of the things that white blood cells use to kill bad stuff is hydrogen peroxide. There's hydrogen peroxide in the Oxybody Cherryberry. It's along with aloe vera. It's made in a format that you can take internally. It's a very good product, and it's part of the cancer protocol. And so you're basically kind of doing the same thing to if you have hyperbaric treatments, for instance, what happens is Boyle's law states that and Marvin, you can talk about Boyle's law a little bit. If you have, let's say that you have a glass of water in the room, and let's say that you were to raise the barometric pressure to double what you have, with the oxygen in the air, you're going to have a greater amount of oxygen dissolved directly into that water because of Boyle's law. So what happens when you go into hyperbaric chamber and raise the pressure? Let's say that you double the pressure, with the same amount of, and maybe put 32% oxygen in it. You're going to have oxygen dissolved directly into your plasma. See, your red blood cells are limited in the amount of oxygen that they can carry. And the idea behind hyperbaric oxygen therapy is that if you increase the amount of oxygen in the plasma and get the plasma to carry more oxygen will be available to the tissues, because that goes into the interstitial tissues as well, the interstitial fluids, and therefore it reaches the cells, and the cells have a higher percent of oxygen in there. See, and so there's the cells function better. They take people that have diabetes, that have these ulcers on their legs, and they'll give them hyperbaric chamber treatments and heal the ulcers. The body heals the ulcers because the extra amount of oxygen in there. And there's some belief that perhaps the body's able to fight tumors as well better with more oxygen. I don't know how much study has been done on that, but that's kind of the idea behind it.
Something else, we have this oxybody cherryberry. If you are experiencing altitude sickness or concerned about, if you've been at sea level and you travel through the mountains and you're concerned about altitude sickness or, shortness of breath, carry one of these bottles with you. And I'm not kidding you. You just basically take a couple shots of that on an empty stomach, and it dramatically improves your blood oxygen content and helps you prevent and reduce that risk of oxygen. Elevation sickness. What is it? What do you call that?
Well, basically, I'll tell you my experience when I was coming out to your place, on Amtrak. I was coming up out of Denver. It goes up to 9,000 feet, and I was short of breath. And I had some oxybody cherryberry with me, and I took 2 shots of that, and I was fine after that. I didn't have that, I couldn't catch my breath. That was over with. If you have heart conditions, like let's say that you have, you have pain running down your arm as a result of your heart situation. Now you need to make sure that you're on a protocol. But if you take a shot of that stuff, it'll help give oxygen to the heart tissue, on an emergency basis.
And the oxybody cherryberry, if you get a sore throat, you feel a sore throat coming on, just take some of that and gargle with that stuff and swallow it. I tell you what, it's amazing the difference it makes. And so I love taking this stuff, especially if I have people come out to Utah and they want to go hike in the mountains. I said, well, first of all, we want to make sure you get plenty of oxybody cherryberry with us. We'll just carry some of this with them in their water bottle, and they'll take a swig of that stuff. And it's amazing how much it helps. My son, Eli, he runs 5Ks. And before he starts a 5K, 10, 15 minutes before he runs a 5K, he'll take a couple ounces of this stuff. And I'm not kidding you. His body that's the goal, is to get as much oxygen in those muscle tissues as you can. Because when you start slowing down on that last half of your 5K, it's because of lack of oxygen. You're huffing and puffing, and you cannot. And the reason you're huffing and puffing is because the body needs more oxygen. And this oxybody cherryberry is a natural ability to support and promote healthy blood oxygen levels.
Yeah, it's kind of like having a hyperbaric chamber in a bottle.
Exactly.
And it's an amazing product. Hold on, let me show you.
So while he's getting another demo here, I'm not kidding you. It's just we have that stuff in my fridge, and every morning I get up, I will take on an empty stomach. The first thing I'll do is I'll take a shot of this stuff, a couple ounces of this stuff, and that's about an hour before I eat breakfast. It's just a good all around, excellent. It oxygenates your blood, gets you going. I prefer this over any cup of coffee.
Let's see here. If you can see this.
The thing blocks it, Doc.
Yeah.
Now you're there. You go.
So it's got a cherry berry flavor to it.
Yeah, it's cherry. Yeah. Oxybody cherry berry.
I have to try that.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, it's great stuff.
Now just remember, this does not take place of the basic 90. It is an addition to your basic 90. So if you are on if you have COPD and you're on oxygen, take some of this stuff. It's amazing. I have people that were able to get off of their oxygen by just taking the basic 90 and the oxybody cherry berry, because the body was producing enough oxygen on its own. They did not have to have a supplement with oxygen. And so there's just all kinds of benefits with this product. Now, we didn't even talk about this product or had planned on talking about this, but it just kind of fell into what we're talking about, Dr. Wiedemann. And so...
Yeah, and here's something else. I recommend getting a... let's see if I can find my little... my thing here. I have a thing that I clip on my finger to test the oxygen level in my bloodstream. And I test it from time to time, but it used to be before our incident, out in, skiing incident, my blood oxygen was running at 88. Now I tested it. I have a friend that has COPD, and I was at his house and tested my blood oxygen there, and it was 88. And he says, that's low. And because he had to test his all the time, because he had a cannula that he breathed oxygen all the time because he had smoked for so many years and destroyed his lungs, and so he had to test his oxygen. I tested mine and it was 88, and I didn't know what to think about that until later. But when I got Oxybody Cherry Berry, I could bring it up to 94. Well, when I got on Dr. Wallach's heart protocols and spent 6 months doing that, or 8 months or something like that, I was able to reverse that. Now my blood oxygen runs around 98 all the time. I don't generally drop below that anymore because I clean my arteries out. So, but yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, these are all little tidbits of, of protocols that we have. We have a whole this whole website that we've set up, where you can do your health survey. It will tell you what you need to do for your particular situation. We're just kind of showing what these things will do, what the products will do, but it's not independent of the 90 essential nutrients. The 90 essential nutrients has to form the basis of everything. It's the first thing you need to do. And and we always recommend that you set yourself up as if you're going to do this as a business. And we have 3 types of distributors. We have those that just want to take the products. Then there are those that want to get their products paid for. And then there are those that want to do this as a business. And, there's a yearly fee for doing this as a business. We recommend you do that because then, if you get people placed before you, it can defray the cost of your products. And you can't go to Amazon and expect to get your products paid for. You just can't.
The other thing on Amazon, you don't get any support at all from your team. The Amazon sellers are actually it's against company policy to sell on a social media and Amazon, and the reason why is because there's no support to support and promote Dr. Wallach's message here. And this is why we really advocate. So look, if you want to be part of our team, great. We'd love to have you. But if you run to Amazon or eBay, anywhere like that, you're not going to get this kind of support, individual consultation like Dr. Wiedemann is willing to give you.
Yeah, and if we find that you've done it, we'll never help you again. I can never help you again because you've gone cross line from us then. See, it's really against company policy for us to even help you in the future. So, you're kind of screwed if you go to Amazon.
So getting back to our immune system, Dr. Wiedemann, we talked about the T cell, the white blood cells, the T cells, the killer T cells. We talked about the B cells, and which is 1/3 of our immune system. And we talked about some products that support and promote the immune system, which we had last week. We talked about the Nature's Pearl liquid grapeseed extract. This week we featured 2 more products, the Z Radical, which has fucoid in it. And we also talked about the Oxybody Cherry Berry. But there are other products that Youngevity has that Dr. Wallach promotes that will support and promote the immune system. What are some of those that you've used in the past, in addition to those 3, Dr. Wiedemann?
I'm sorry. Say, I didn't quite catch the gist of that question.
So what were some of the additional products you've used to support and promote your immune system, in addition to the 3 we've already discussed?
Well, let's see, I forget the name of the one company that, let's see if I can, let's see here.
Something else, while you're looking that up.
Restart is the name of the company that's hooked up with Youngevity. That's where we get the Trinity lotion. There's some other pills there that are very strong, powerful immune system. It's actually part of the protocol, the cancer protocol. When we went out to your sister's, she had that stuff there. Do you remember what it's called?
Let me see. Hold on here. Let me get my little cheat sheet out. We have got, okay, hold on here. Oh, I know what we haven't talked about, the selenium, Youngevity selenium. Most people don't know this, but the Youngevity product selenium has, your body needs to have at least a minimum of 200 micrograms of selenium in order to produce the enzyme glutathione. Glutathione is highest known antioxidant to man. And so selenium is a very important part of supporting and promoting our immune system. And now you can't just take selenium by itself. The selenium has to be combined with its cofactors. And so with that said, when we put together a nutritional protocol, the basic 90 and additional products to support and promote the immune system, you're going to see some of these products that, well, what's this for? Well, the Youngevity selenium is specifically formulated to help many different types of diseases. But one of those diseases is supporting the body's ability to produce the enzyme glutathione.
Yeah, Restart Your Life at the RYL beta 550 beta 13-D glucan is a very powerful. And your sister had Immune 911. She had Killer Biotic. She had, she had a whole cupboard full of stuff there from Youngevity. She had her whole house set up as a Youngevity house. And she says, we were sick when we went there. And each of us went to our rooms and stayed there. We had bad coughs and stuff like that. And she had that antioxidant drink that she gave us. And then she says, here's the cupboard. You don't get well, it's your fault. And so, she had Killer Biotic in there.
I'm going to share the screen with that beta glucan so you can see what that is. Hold on here. Let's do that. Can you see that? Beta glucan?
We'll probably see it in a minute.
Oh, you can't see my screen?
Yeah, I got it.
There we go.
We got it.
Okay. That's the product you're talking about. Is that correct, Dr. Wiedemann?
Yep, that's it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That there is an incredible, in addition to the other 4 products we talked about, you just add this. As you can see here, we have got a ton of products I say ton. We have a handful of products you can select from to support and promote your immune system. And, if you have a viral, some kind of a virus, right, that you get, and the cold, the flu virus, whatever it is, you want to make sure you have a good immune system. And this is one way of giving the body what it needs so it can protect, support, promote, and defend itself against these bad guys.
Yeah, it says here the biological most relevant immunomodulator just got better. RYL beta 550 delivers higher amounts of Oh, you shrunk it down so I can't read it.
Oh, hold on. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, higher amounts of standardized proprietary blend of beta-1,3,16 glucan, the most studied and proven immune supplement support for your everyday needs, and mushroom extracts for added immune support. So I don't know about the mushrooms. I don't know much about mushrooms and stuff like that.
So here's a list of proprietary blend, 705 milligrams of this stuff, and there's a whole list of things in there. As you can see there, there's turkey tail, organic turkey tail, mushroom extract. There's organic. There's just a whole bunch of stuff in there. You can see for yourself. But as I said, this is just one of a handful of products that we have to support and promote the immune system.
Yeah, and you don't just willy-nilly buy these things. It's that, you could spend all kinds of money with longevity. And that's why using the health questionnaire, the health survey is so important. If you become skilled with the use of that, you'll be able to minimize the amount that you spend to maximize. Yeah, because it goes right along with Dr. Wallach's protocols. It's all referenced with his publications, the things that he's put in peer-reviewed articles. That's why we can be structure function compliant. We're not just pulling this out of our hat. We're not just making claims, that.
So here's the book. Here's the science. This is the NIH-funded study that Dr. Wallach was part of, and he wrote this book, and it's full of all this stuff. And everything we do here, we talk about, can be backed up in this scientific book right here. And not only that, but we also have books that, there's just a whole library of books. If you got like reading, one of his first books he ever wrote was Rare Forbidden Cures.
That's one of the best books I ever read.
This is one of the better books out there. You can buy this on. You can go on Amazon and buy this book here. It's an excellent book. So that's the only product we allow you to buy on Amazon, right, Dr. Wiedemann?
Yeah, well, actually, you can go straight to the source. You can go to Wellness Publications and get it.
Yeah, so there's, like I said, everything we teach, it's not what we've discovered, it's what Dr. Wallach discovered. He's brought these materials into our library, and all we have to do is just apply the knowledge that he's given us, and guess what? We benefit from all that research he's done. He spent years and years and millions of dollars of research to help support and promote the body's ability to repair and rebuild itself. And the immune system is just one of the many things. And as we said, we talked about the musculoskeletal system. We talked about how the bone marrow is the heart and foundation of our immune system. So those of you who are just starting to listen about this, you may want to go back and review some of the previous shows we did about musculoskeletal. A compromised musculoskeletal system also means a compromised immune system. And so just kind of recap here, we have got the bone marrow produces white blood cells and red blood cells. The white blood cells is part of your immune system. They produce the killer T cells. And that's the thing that we want to make sure these good guys have everything they need, all the weapons they need to fight the bad guys.
Yeah. And one of the things that, Marvin, you want to make sure that people understand is, let's back up here and just show the basis for all of Dr. Wallach's stuff is the minerals. That's the first tier of, if you can't afford anything else, get the minerals. Anybody can afford a bottle of minerals. They're only, $25 for a bottle, $90 for 4 of them. And, then you build on that and you go to the next level and you get the vitamins and minerals and the essential fatty acids, and you've got it covered. Then you get the calcium and so forth, and the magnesium. It's all in liquid form, and if you start with that, it's going to make an amazing difference in your life.
And so let me go ahead back and do some screen share here, and I'll just put the bottle of minerals here. That for those of you who've never seen it, let's come on. Where am I at here? Right here we go. Okay, let's do another screen share. And here we go. There's your bottle of plant minerals. And wholesale pricing, one thing we have we have a retail price and we have wholesale price. Wholesale price is for those people who become part of the team member. You can become a part of our team and you can buy it wholesale. And why not? You save yourself 20% or more. But the other thing too is that one bottle of these plant minerals is enough for a 100-pound person. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you want to buy 2 bottles of plant minerals a month. That's the minimum you want to start with. The minerals must be present before the body can utilize the vitamins, amino acids, and essential fatty acids. And so my point is this: is that it's kind of, think of it this way. I used to build houses, and you can't build houses without nails. If you don't have the nails, I don't care how much lumber you got sitting outside there ready to build. If you don't have the nails, if the guy from the lumber yard didn't bring the nails, you're not going to get started, are you, Dr. Wiedemann?
Right. That's right. That's right. I mean, you can't build a house without lumber either. I mean, I guess you can. You can use steel, but I mean, you got to have the basic building blocks, and for those basic building blocks, it's 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 essential amino acids, and 3 essential fatty acids. That's it. That's real easy to remember, and those are all necessary. And if you remember, we talked about the people that have the longest lives on the planet are those that just happen to be in those mineral-rich areas. That's why Dr. Wallach founded all this on the minerals. You always want the minerals first.
That'd be kind of a cool little subject we need to focus on, is talk about the long-lived people group that the National Geographic has been studying over the past century.
Yeah, when I had this, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie tapes, I was so impressed with that. But when Dr. Wallach talks, he sounds like he's really talking off the wall, like he's like some, the way he wrapped humor into it. You wonder if he was telling the truth, because he sounds like he's one of these, old medicine guys that went around in these wagons, and was selling patent, these snake oils. He sounds like a snake oil salesman with his humor and stuff. So I went and checked him out. I went to the library and checked him out. And I looked up the National Geographic articles and found it was true. That's where we came up with illustrating the first 19 minutes of his lecture, and we never finished doing the whole lecture because it was so long. It took us 8 months to do that much, and that's the first thing we have you watch. And the reason we do that is because illustrating it made it so much more real. And we literally brought the stuff out of National Geographic and put on there. I hope we didn't violate any copyrights or anything like that, but he quoted that from those magazines, and it was there just exactly as he said, so that's why it's on there.
So Dr. Wiedemann, I want to go ahead and bring up that screen with we talked about when people go to your website, they're going to see this screen. And this is what they call the leak. Basically, what we ask you to do is just go ahead and enter your information. Okay, enter your information.
Marvin, I want to just say something here. It's important that you know that this is not my website. Anybody can obtain this website and use it as a tool. If you want to build your business, you can go in there and learn how to build a longevity business yourself. All you have to do is apply a little elbow grease and get in there and watch the videos and work with us, and we will teach you how to build your team, how to introduce people to this. And the idea is that the whole reason for this website is that Dr. Wallach wanted an army of people to work with him in spreading his doc's message. Okay.
So the first step is if you want to be part of our team, just go ahead and fill out the personal information: first name, last name, email, cell phone, and carrier. If you have a cell phone, just leave it blank. If you don't have a cell phone, well, just put your home phone in there. But this information is all we need, and that starts the ball rolling for us to get in contact with you. And so if you become part of the team member and you want to become a subscriber to this great website, it's all you over here. You can see here the introduction, and you can say, click on subscribe via PayPal. And that allows you. Now you have to be a Young Jerry distributor. You have to be. You have to upgrade your position to a distributor before you can actually benefit from this. But this is where you put in your Young Jerry account ID number. And Dr. Wiedemann, you'll be able to help them do that once you decide to do that. But that's down the road. But what we want you to understand is that we've got this great, excellent. This video that you watch is actually this audio cassette. It was over 100 million copies that were sold back in the 80s and 90s before they went
I have
into
a box of those. I have a box of those in storage, Marvin. I want to illustrate one thing, Marvin. Let's scroll to the top of the page there. I want to click on log out there. Just click on log out. And on that top radio button, if you want to use the website, click on that. And up above, there should be my number up above. You should be able to get my number.
Well, you have to. The number that you want to use is this one right here.
Well, actually, back up just a little bit, because you want to go back to where they have to log out first.
Okay. We have to log in as a member. Hold on.
Back up a little bit. There. You see my distributor number up there. Copy that.
This right here
first. Right click on that and copy it. Hit copy. And then log out. And then hit the top radio button and just paste that in there. And that way you can actually have access. Go ahead and hit login, and you'll be able to use you'll be able to look at many of the movies there. See?
This here has everything except the members tab. There's no members tab here, and that's because you're not a subscriber. So anybody who's not a subscriber can access these videos. I mean, look at the Dr. Wallach tab here, and we can scroll down. And let's say if you want to click on the agriculture part of it, that's my better half right there. And this is all the stuff you want to, if you are gardeners out there, if you like the gardening and plants, everything you need to know about growing healthy plants with these minerals is right in there. Your cats and dogs need these minerals. Your farm animals need these minerals. So we have a whole library of educational materials that you can dive into if you want to learn more about how to take care of your cats and dogs.
Oh, Marvin, do you want to go into, they have a question here. Do we have something equivalent to Tangy Tangerine Vitamin Plus Mineral Complex in a different flavor? And I'm going to just say that we have the Ultimate Classic, which is it has actually some calcium in it. And we also have the Body Toddy, the original, what's it called? The
Ultra Body Toddy.
Ultra Body Toddy. So there's a couple of different flavors. With the Tangy Tangerine, it's one of my favorites. When I first got, I had in the old days when longevity first started, it was actually American Longevity. They had little tiny bottles of the Tangy Tangerine, the little bodies of the bottles of the Cherry Men's, and somebody gave me 3 of each, and I took those one a day for 3 days, and man, I felt tremendous after that. So I mean, it was amazing. But there are some people that just don't like certain flavors, so we have the option of using the Ultimate Classic if you want to. I mean, we don't recommend it, but you can use the Beyond Tangy Tangerine if you want. That's a little different flavor too.
Well, let me show you what the products are. Let's go back to the screen share again, and let's go ahead and I'll show you what we're talking about here. So here's the Ultra Body Toddy, okay, and that is kind of well, that was the original product that Dr. Wallach put together when he was with Tidy Minerals, and then the knockoff of that, and the improvement of that is the Ultimate Classic. These are your what I would consider, if you're a healthy young adult, if you have no health issues, these are an excellent product to start with. Basically, one bottle of this is for 100 pounds of body weight. It has, if you look at the supplemental facts here, it has got a lot of stuff in there. Now, you come down here and we'll look at the minerals here. It has got, let's see, where's my mineral label at? I should see it somewhere in here. Oh, here you go. Plant-derived minerals, 600 milligrams. 600 milligrams, that's per serving. That's 2 tablespoons. That's a lot of minerals. That's enough for 100 pounds of body weight. But all this stuff in here, notice all the vitamin A, C, D3, E, K1, B1, 2, 3, 6. I mean, you got B12 in there, and a whole list of things in there. This is properly formulated for a 100-pound person. So if you are a 150-pound person, you can just go 3 tablespoons instead of 2 tablespoons. So that's a bottle and a half a month. Same thing with your Ultra Body Toddy. You got the same similar concept here. And I'm not sure. Yeah, it has 300 milligrams of plant-derived minerals. Not quite as much. Okay, same price, but not quite as much. But so your Ultimate Classic is actually, you get more for your money because it's $48.95. You get more for your money because you have more minerals in there. That's really the thing right there. And also you've got calcium. Let's see, where's my calcium at?
And magnesium.
Calcium. Calcium. It's 600 milligrams of calcium in the Classic, Ultimate Classic, where the Ultra Body Toddy, let's see what it has for calcium. It has 300 milligrams. So there's basically, you can compare the labels between the two of them, and it almost looks like the Ultra Body Toddy is not quite as much quantity of ingredients as the Ultimate Classic. But my point is this: play around with it. Now, if you try these products and still don't like the flavor, something I've learned is add an ounce of hot water to it. It's amazing. Hot water will basically hide that taste before you drink it with your meal, or take it down with your supplements for your meal. And so, or you can even add mango juice, orange juice. And some people like to add tomato juice. Even tomato juice hides the flavor quite well.
I do cranberry and lemon sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
The cranberry helps with the kidney stones, and the lemon also helps with kidney stones. So
yeah, I don't know why I'm freezing up here, guys, but something must be wrong with my internet or something. So,
well, we have covered a lot of things tonight, haven't we, Dr. Wiedemann?
Yeah, we sure have.
We're going to have to pick up this conversation next week.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. And anyway, I hope Kathy got her questions answered there. So,
if she hasn't got her questions, I'm sure she'll call me.
Yeah.
She lives within less than 20 miles where I grew up at.
Yeah.
So she's a hoot. My brother Willie tells me that Kathy is a hoot. So she's a lot of fun. And, we love people like Kathy coming on here and making comments. And so don't be afraid to make comments, ask questions. If you don't ask the question, we cannot give you an answer. So there's no such thing as a stupid question here. So thank you for the comments, the questions, and we'll see you next week.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Reach out to Dr. Wiedemann at getdocsminerals.com, 406-270-3754. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next week.